Okay, hi everybody, it's Dara, and what's happening today is I'm not prepping the walls to be painted, but this is a primer that's going over the dark red walls that I had before. And these walls were beautifully intended. They were, I wanted the room rich and to feel like cozy, and my daughter and I both were like, yeah, let's paint the room red. But what happened was, first of all, two things. One is that the painters, when I was away, they painted the room. So I picked this gorgeous red color, and then what happened was, instead of using a white primer, they used a dark gray primer. So it was always so much darker than I wanted it to be. But I lived with it. A number of things happened that were sad. My mom passed, and I spent many nights crying in this room, and then my daughter needed to move away, and I was crying. And then it occurred to me, every time I would come into my room, I wanted to watch like Netflix. Like, I didn't want to go to sleep. And then I told Patrick that. He's like, let me help you. I'm going to help you paint the room. That's Patrick, by the way. Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
He's prepping. So I looked at colors, like typical acrylic colors, and I was like, okay, I think I want a painted blush. The trim is off-white, and I don't want to paint the trim because I have bookshelves and doors, and that's like a whole nother big job. So it had to be a color that went with the off-white trim, and I was thinking of like a blushy color. And then I came across lime wash paint, and I got really excited. So lime wash paint is, you have to put it on in like a little bit of an artistic way, and I'm going to be showing you how we're going to be doing it. I picked this gorgeous color Duet from Portola paints. It's lime wash, and it's such a healthy, non-toxic way to treat your room. So I'm excited to share that with you, and I'm excited to have a whole new fresh look for my bedroom and a fresh feel. So if you ever feel kind of like something is heavy, it might be the paint color. It might be time, that's a time when the walls get wiped down, the furniture gets moved, a new color is chosen, and new beginnings. I used to do the decorative painting. It's called color washing. So I'd paint the wall like this bright color, and then I would mix batches of what I called glaze. Like, it would be another color thinned out or used with a transparent medium, so that when you put that color over the brighter color, it would tone it down, it would give it a different tone. So you would paint once one color, then you'd go over it with a glaze in like a crisscrossy way, big fat brush. And then I would go around the room again, like a third time around the room, sometimes 3 times around the room if the room was small. So for example, let's see, in my friend Ed's apartment, it was like a light bright blue, and then I did a lavendery purpley glaze. It was for the wealth area. It was his bathroom, and it just ended up having so much depth, so much more than you get when you just do a flat color. Back in the day, I used to do oil glazing. So, I don't use oil paints anymore, but you do like, let's say like a bright light green, a green, and then you make like a hunter green oil glaze, and it gets tapped on with like crinkled saran, and it just gives depth and richness. So that's what I love for walls. So that's why I'm willing to spend a couple days doing the lime wash. So I'm going to show you guys the process, but today's primer day. Okay, so today's testing day of the Duet paint color that I chose. And as you can see up there, you can see some of the wet parts. It's very dark when you put it on. This is only the first coat, so it dries to a lighter finish, as you can see over there. It was kind of startling when you put it on because it's very dark, but the first coat is very forgiving, and then it'll get a second coat, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it and what brush to get. So what happened was, when Patrick was gone, I just meant to test the color. I wanted to make sure I liked the color, and I liked the color in the sample at the store at Portola Paints. But what happens is you have different lighting in your own room, plus I have a kind of yellowy off-white trim, and if the color of the paint for the wall was too pink, it would have made my trim look yellow, which would have made the room look a little candy-like. So when I tested it, I was so happy that it was an orangey dusty rose. It has a lot of yellow in it, which makes the trim look normal and good. And we'll be able to tell when we take the blue paint off, but the blue tape off, but we don't take the tape off until I've done at least 2 coats. You could do 3 of lime wash, but really only 2 is necessary, most likely. I'm so excited because it's so soft. It gives a little bit of texture and a little bit of movement, and it's natural, and it feels like fluffy like a cloud. So I probably can do this whole room at least 1 coat today in a number of hours, and then tomorrow I will finish it. Okay, the latest update is I have 1 wash of Portola Paints Duet on the wall. And I watched it through the different hours of the day, and when it's very sunny, it throws a lot of peach, a little terracotta. It's beautiful, but I want a little more blush. So I have the option to reprime that wall and just do the new color that we got, which is etcetera, which is very beautiful, but it's a little bit pink. I want somewhere between the 2 of them, which Portola paint could have mixed for me, but I would like a little 2-tone with a little bit of that showing through. So what you have to do, or what I need to do, instead of just doing a 2nd coat of this, which will 90% cover what I've already done, I want that to show through. So I'm going to mix this paint, half water, half paint, and create a glaze or a color wash. And then I will brush this diluted by half over that, and I should be seeing that color shine through, which will give me even more depth. So I am testing this wall, and if I don't like it, we can reprime it. Either way, it would have to be, if I chose only this color, that would have to be reprimed, but I think I'm gonna do both. 1 coat of that and 1 thinner coat of this. Hopefully it's gonna work, but I'll test it and you'll see. Okay, so I went ahead and put a wash, 50% etcetera, over the Duet, and it came out like that, which is really pretty. And I can paint prime over this if I decide that this tester I just did a whole section of testing. That's not dry yet, and that's not dry yet. As you can see, that is a base color of Duet with 50%, meaning half water, half etcetera, but you'll see it's gonna dry milky. Like, it's not gonna look like that, so it's hard to tell. That's the one that's on the wall over there. It's a process. Okay, so I went around the room with 1 coat of Duet undiluted, and it has a lot of movement, as you can see. Lime wash needs 2 coats, but I didn't want to do 2 of Duet. I wanted to do something a little pinker, so I got the etcetera, and this part here is 1 part water, 1 part etcetera paint. But now what I'm practicing with is, and I think it's the best thing to do, is 1 part paint, 2 parts water, and it's giving me a beautiful finish. So Jamie messaged me, Jamie from Portola Paints, and he's like, you're doing a great job. If you want more movement, add more water to the 2nd coat. So that's what I have over here right on that wall, and I absolutely love it. So let's finish up this room today. Finally, I'm taking a little break on the bed. I'm so tired, but I'm so happy with how it's coming out. Because it was hot in the room and the walls are seriously, they suck it in the lime wash, I was getting very strong brush strokes. And if I did another thick coat, 100% lime wash paint over it, it would have covered it. But I decided I wanted to add another color, the etcetera. So duet underneath, and then the etcetera over it. And I wanted to do 50% water, 50% paint. And then I thought it looked too pink, so then I tried a wall with 1/3 paint, 2/3 water, and it didn't cover the brush strokes enough. The brush strokes were not smooth, fine enough. It's kind of like if you're gonna wear a see-through blouse, you need to have nice underpinnings, and my underpinnings, I was not prepared. So I had to do it a little bit thicker, more milkier, and I'm really liking that's what it looks like. But it changes like in the light, changes from corner to corner. So it's going to be interesting to see when the room is all made up, and I'm almost done. So tired. Okay, so I've been living in my pretty blush colored room for some time now. We hung the lights, the drapes, and I'm going to show you the finished result.